right, good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming out for our, I don't even know, 8th event, maybe? We're getting close to our 1-year anniversary, which I think will be in August. Which will be fun. We'll plan something out. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Luke. I'm a designer, animator, illustrator, filmmaker, sure, a bunch of different things that I do down here in Savannah. We got a bunch of different fun things we're going to run through today. Our theme is actually parallel for this month. This is our global theme. It was chosen by our Kuala chapter in Malaysia and illustrated by Oli. We have a really short copy to go with it this morning, which is great because the last ones have been quite a bit wordy. We may be living parallel lives, but we don't have to go through them alone. Wow, yeah. I like it when they're nice and short. Those are fun. Thanks to our global sponsor, Adobe. They've been gracious enough to not only support us locally, but support us globally. They've been here a couple times in the past couple of years, and have always thrown wonderful events and always been gracious to us, so we're grateful for them. They recently joined as our global partner last year, and they recognize the impact that Creative Mornings has on the global ecosystem of creativity. They committed to support creatives all around the world. Just like Creative Mornings, Adobe believes that community is everything. That's why they're here, not just as our partner, but as a true supporter in the creative lives here in Savannah. Their mission is to champion Creative Mornings around the world and to support you at every stage of your creative journey. And they have a little thing about all the different chapters that meet monthly, just like us. In fact, there's actually a bunch meeting today at this exact time. And we all post in the Slack after this of all you guys hanging out. So we're grateful for Adobe for making all that possible. Woo! Yeah. Bring a friend. I say this every time. You know, Creative Mornings is a community, and community doesn't happen without you all. So glad that you're here. Glad that you brought people. Continue to bring people that we can continue to grow and support other creatives and other types of creatives here in Savannah, because we're always needing more and more to help build this community. And we're grateful for our volunteers. We recently had Noah leave, but we had some other people hop on, which we're grateful for. Lynn, thanks for hopping in for photography. If you would like to volunteer in any capacity, we're needing people to kind of continue to help run events, for social media stuff, for making designs. There's some other fun ideas of stuff that'll be happening this summer. You can email at savannah@creativemornings.com or send me a DM on Instagram or Facebook. I'm bad with Facebook, but hang with me. If you'd like to donate anything, you can use the QR code. There's also one on the sign-in page. That's all just stuff that goes back into this, getting coffee if you don't have a sponsor, trying to get food, all that stuff like that. And thank you to our local sponsor, Java Burrito, who's been so gracious for the past couple of months providing us with coffee and creamer. We're so grateful for everything that they do. Creative Mornings is a global organization, like I've said several times. We're back down to 79 countries. We keep flipping between 70 and 69, which is very interesting. But yeah, these are some of the stats and stuff. 243 different cities. I think we are one of the most recent cities. We still kind of hold that title. There might be one other one that started up, but they were an old chapter that came back. But yeah, we're a global group. Part of that is field trips. Field trips is something they started, I think, during the pandemic. That was like Creative Mornings, but for people who couldn't make it out. They do these all the time. You can go to creativemornings.com/field trips. Yeah, I think is the link. And those are workshops, lectures, all kinds of different things that they do online. So you can feel free to go check those out. Creative Mornings has a manifesto, like every good, I was about to say cult should, but let's not go there. Everyone is creative. A creative life requires bravery and action, honesty and hard work. We are here to support you, celebrate with you, and encourage you to make the things that you love. We believe in the power of community. We believe in giving a damn. We believe in face-to-face connections and learning from others and hugs and high fives. We believe, that's not what it says, we bring together people who are driven by passion, purpose, confident that they will inspire one another and inspire change in neighborhoods and cities around the world. Everyone is welcome. Everyone is creative. you want to talk a little bit about this?
Yeah. So every quarter of the year, we partner, co-creation partners with what is now Launch Savannah, was the Creative Coast, who had a big rebranding.
Yeah, yesterday.
Launch Savannah to host the Doers and Makers event. It's at Service Brewing.
Oh, yeah.
Every quarter, and so the next one will be April 24th. It's going to be on a Thursday at 6 o'clock. There is an Eventbrite page that you can register. There's a small itty bitty QR code right there on the whiteboard that you can use with your phone to get it. But it's essentially a space where, being an entrepreneur, being a creator, there's a lot of hard things to overcome, and we want this space to be people who are creating cool things, who you may not think it's at a level to be talked about yet. We want you to come and talk about the thing that you're working on, to bring beauty, to bring goodness, to bring truth to our city. And so we'll have 5 speakers come and share quickly. They have 5 minutes to share about what they're creating and what they're bringing to the city, and then it'll just be a time of like low-key networking and hanging out and meeting each other. So we actually still need one more speaker, so if you're interested in taking what's in your heart and in your hands to the next level and bringing it and presenting it in front of people, this is a good opportunity to practice that. It doesn't have to be perfect, and you don't need to be at an extremely high level for your business or for your project to do it. This is the space for that in-between, that coming.
Is it a one-time event, or is it going to repeat?
Quarterly.
So we'll do it quarterly, and we'll have 5 fresh speakers every time. Hit the QR code and register on Eventbrite so we know that you're coming, and hopefully we'll see you there.
Yeah, thank you, Christian. I did it last quarter?
Yep.
Damn, that feels like, it was a year ago.
Yeah.
Go figure, that's how that works. There's been wonderful people there. I mean, we've heard from people who are doing things for rezoning single-family housing to every speaker always has something wonderful. So if you like this type of event,
creating magazines.
True, yeah.
And so it's like it's a very broad lens. Whatever you're doing, it is cool enough.
Yeah.
So just come talk to me, and if you don't think it is, I'll let you know it is.
Yeah, he'll tell you, try harder. But yeah, make it out there if you guys can. That would be great. April speaker, that's next month, and it's coming up quick. That's going to be on April 18th at the Davenport House Museum, where we were, November, I think, if any of you were here for that event. Kristen, who is technical designer?
Yeah. Her background is in industrial design, and she designs the interiors of aircraft at Gulfstream, but not like an interior designer, more like what do the buttons look like? How does the lighting work? What are the cockpit controls? She's very cool.
She came to our last event at Java Burrito, which was a really fun event. Lovely to get to. I guess I was 2 the beginning of this year. Going to be a super interesting talk. That event should be live later today, if not next week, Monday. It won't be live for you to go ahead and register because that's going to be on the 18th, so we're coming up on that. And I think that's all my stuff. Yeah, so everyone please give a warm welcome for our first time attendee, Dr. Sinisa. So for you,
yes.
Let me pull this a little bit closer because it's being a little finicky, but it's just the big one.
Okay, sure.
Good to go?
Cool. Thank you, guys. I'm really happy to be here. And as I told Christian, who just kind of stopped me after one of the services I played with Monica at Wesley, and said, "You want to come here and speak for this group?" And I said, "Okay, sure." I didn't even know what I signed up for. I just said, I like to speak. I didn't have my coffee this morning because when I have coffee, I speak faster, and I'm trying to, practice this and kind of allow everybody to, get accustomed to my weird accent for some, short period of time. And I hope we're gonna be on a good frequency here. So my name is Sinisa Ciric. I come from Serbia. And I've been in the United States now for about 24 years. I did my grad work, my master's and doctorate in violin and viola performance at the University of Georgia. And it's been my real pleasure to to study over there. It's a great school. I had a great teachers, and a lot of things that I learned over there are definitely part of what I'm doing today. I can tell you that I brought some things with me, in 2001 when I moved to States, and it's a lot of good education that I got back home, and that definitely gave me a good head start over here. But I feel like I developed professionally, definitely in the United States, and I can tell you that the biggest influence was the opportunity that was given to me just around everywhere I went, from Atlanta to Athens to. I primarily, actually, when I think about it, I stayed in Georgia all these years because I really love Georgia. For some, yes, go Dogs. Yeah, that's the indoctrination you get from 9 years living in Athens. So I can tell it. I can say it in Latin too. Ite canes. That's what we were doing that because just a side note. So you have this theory class and you're writing music because for a grade, not because you can write music, but because you're supposed to know how the process goes. And the teacher that was teaching us counterpoint and harmony, gave us words to write a Bach style fugue, but on words ite canes, so that you kind of feel, you're kind of contributing. So none of the work actually was good. It all sucked. But I'll tell you this, and I'm kind of trying to move now a little bit forward into what I'm going to be talking about. So you get all these rules how music is written, and they teach you composition and whatnot, but how many Beethovens we have, how many Bachs we have, how many Mozarts we have. We all know these rules, we're all using the same notes, but somehow these guys wrote something that's going to stay forever and ever, and it's been around for 300 years, just because they knew a little bit more about how this actually works. And after 300 years of studying, we still cannot just write the same quality, the same style. You can say, it kind of sounds like it, but for whatever reason, we still have not, figured out why, and did not come to the bottom of it. Why these guys sound like they sound, and they will always be a pinnacle of the Western civilization in art production, specifically in music. Because they're just that's something that's God-given, that's talent, that's something that you just cannot teach. There's no way that you can actually teach that. So I, on the other hand, believe that each one of us in this room have that talent. We just have to find it. Might not be on the level of Beethoven, and if you set that as your goal, you might find yourself failing more than succeeding. But it's good to have that as a dream and as a guide. And for me, that was very important. Especially when I came here, which was a new country, knew everything. Was definitely a cultural shock. But that was my drive. I had a very sort of a clear goal that I wanted to be the best that I can be. And of course, I'm struggling on everyday basis, as I believe each one of us is struggling to be the best who we are, and who we can be, and what my talent is allowing, how much work I actually put in, and all these beautiful things. But to actually move on, I just told you a little bit about that life through music, and I truly believe in this. I really, this is my guidance. Love and art will save this world, because I don't think that any science is good enough to give us a reason to live. For me, the first word, love, is definitely connected to my family, and that's where I draw my inspiration. That's where I draw my energy for every day. Get up out of bed. You have to get kids to school. You have to move on. You have to, just give to your family first, and then through family to your community. So it's all out of love, and I can assure you that I'm not doing this for money. I'm not a rich person, nor I know very few musicians that made money from being musicians. But it's the love for music, the love for art, and I'm sure that if you look down deep, that's why you are doing what you're doing. It's because you love what you're doing. There's no other reason, absolutely no other reason. There's no money that can pay you to keep doing what you hate. I mean, at some point you'll give up because it won't be enough. And you'll say, F it, I just need to move on. But for art specifically, that's my food. That's my soul food. It's very pun intended because we're in Georgia, and this whole kind of fuzzy feeling when you eat that fried okra and other goodies. That's how I feel when I'm playing. And I can tell you that yes, I can be humble and say, oh, I do it just for music. No, I like to be in front of people. I think if you are playing music and you don't like to be in front of people, you're probably gonna have some problems with anxiety, getting on stage, being in front of it. Everybody have fear of public speaking, of that, but at the end, you want to be there. You want to show what you've been working on. You want to share with people. You want to show your emotions. As in this little pamphlet that I got, I'm supposed to show you my vulnerability, which I will in about 3 minutes, and I'll explain how. So that's the main drive for me. That's the love for the stage, love for performing for people, because I feel that when I do that, I have an exchange with an audience that came into that space that's filled with people who are there with I'd say many reasons, but one purpose is to be moved. Sometimes you manage to move people, manage to move a lot of people. Sometimes you don't. It just depends on a set of circumstances, but that shouldn't discourage you to keep doing it. I mean, if I who knows how many times I failed in concerts and had no reaction. Yes, sometimes I'll blame it on me. Sometimes I'll tell people, you are just stupid. You have no idea what you just heard. But I'll just I'll always be fair and start with me. Was it something different that I could have done to move them in that direction? So this is all the things that when I heard that the theme is parallel, this is all the things that I think like a drop in a bucket, things that I've been doing in my life for over the years of being in music professionally. I started learning violin when I was 6 back home in Serbia, and it's a beautiful system of free education where it's like a music school is a public school. So I would go to a regular K through 8, and then parallel to that school, I would go to a music school. It's a completely different building, but again, public system, teachers that are teaching full time, and I had violin class twice a week for an hour, and then I had a theory or oral skills class twice a week for an hour, and I had a group sort of class of playing, string instruments with other kids and whatnot. So it's very intense. There's not such thing around here where you spend that much in 101 lessons. These were not group lessons. This was 101. I come in and I have an hour with a teacher. So the progression and the skills come pretty fast. So over the years, they label you as talented or less talented or whatnot. They put more time in you, or it's kind of cruel system in a way, but because you don't get the same attention if you're kind of struggling and you're a little bit behind, because it's survival of the fittest. And I was labeled as talented, and then I almost had no choice. They just put me on a track to become a professional musician, and my parents were not even asked if is that okay or not okay. I mean, I was sent to competitions. I was sent to play the concerts and whatnot, and I was just a good kid. I was just listening to what I've been told to do, and I became rebellious much later. But in that first 8 years of it, I was just put sort of into tunnel to get myself to where I'm supposed to be. When I hit 14, you should know to play this. You should know to reach a certain level. So just later on, I started branching. It was all classical music. And unfortunately, when I was talking to you, like there's so many different genres that we can actually nowadays, there's so much crossover because, you know, the music is definitely reaching out further and further because of globalization and whatnot. But if you imagine, just put things in perspective, 300 years ago, if you wanted to play classical music and you were living in, let's say, Milan in Italy, it'll take you 2 months to get to Paris. Like literally, sit in a coach and travel. So by the time you reach Paris in 2 months, I mean, somebody wrote a symphony that you have no idea about, never heard it. It'll take you another 2 months to come back and hear it. So it was a lot more kind of individualized, and just because the timing was such, so you had to really, you know, rely on your own talent. There's a famous story, you know, Mozart, when he first came to Italy, he was already a genius. He was already labeled a genius. Went to Italy and for the first time heard a chorus singing in a Sistine Chapel. Never before heard such singing. So, but a genius that he was about 14 at the time. He sat down and wrote every single voice, and there was about 8 parts singing, so 8 different parts. So he wrote every single of those voices that he heard in a score, and he took it with him. So he did not have a recorder and an iPhone to say, okay, I'm just going to record this and I'm going to take it home. No, he had to write it down. So he took that, and that was an inspiration for some time for him to write based on just that one single experience, which is amazing. And he got sick on the way back. He barely survived, got, you know, like whatever, the flu or bronchitis or whatever it was. There was no penicillin at the time. So it's a miracle that he actually survived, because, you know, he was traveling through Alps to go back from Milan to Salzburg. So, you know, he got really sick, so as a child. So that those are little things that you learn in school of music. They teach you all this history, which is important because that's how you can relate. You learn all about their lives, and you can learn about, you know, why would he write a piece of music at that year, and you would supposed to be playing it this way, because he was going through some kind of suffering in a way. Was his mother sick? Did he lose a child? I mean, I'm talking about Beethoven, I'm talking about Mozart, about anybody. So you can't really approach them with a broad brush. If you're a professional musician, you have to base your playing on something that's rooted in the knowledge that you pick up on the way. So this is my home. This is Savannah Harmonic Orchestra. That if you have not, I'm not trying to make a pitch. I was told not to do a pitch, but I'm inviting you to the concert. This is not a pitch. So you have a symphony orchestra. Yeah, yeah, that's what I want to hear. So this is happening in Savannah in Lucas Theater, and just go and check us out. You know, if you find a program that you like, you know, you just be. You know, be our guest. You're gonna definitely feel welcome. That's something like a completely different story that I would probably need another 3 hours to talk about. But anyhow, this is, you know, just my education endeavor that I had with the Savannah Classical Academy, which is just down the street on Anderson Street. That's what basically brought me to Savannah. I was asked to develop a string program for Classical Academy. It's a charter school, K through 12. I can tell you proudly that I started with 18 kids in 2016 in January, and by the time I left the school in December of 20, I had 180 kids in the program, off of 375 kids in the school. So thank you. That was my mission. And that school is a really good example of what you can do if you want. I'm definitely going to keep fighting in the school district for music to stay in schools and be added to the school's curriculum. I just told Christian, in many ways, this is something that is existential. Music is existential. It's not an add-on. It's not something that you just, you know, kind of can have or not. I believe that every single kid that was in this program, not because of me, because of music, was touched in a certain way. And it was moved, and I'll give you a little story right in the next slide. Just as an illustration, that's just one story. I can give you 55 stories that are super emotional, they're super charged with some really great feeling of pride for myself, because I was not making musicians. That was not my mission there. My mission there was to introduce kids to music and use music as a medium to teach them about teamwork, about focus, about being a part of something that's bigger than you. Historically, traditionally, however you want to put it, I was also through music teaching perseverance. I was teaching how to cope with emotions, because it's a very emotional work. I was teaching them how to be better people to each other, and that's something that was definitely in the core of that program. And this was my, as I said, this is kind of a parallel of things that were all kind of happening at the same time. I come from Serbia, and that's part of the Balkans. It's a very, very volatile area of the world. There's always something going on there, and we just can't be living boring lives somehow. So Balkan is just kind of like a melting pot of all sorts of culture, from Ottoman Empire to Austro-Hungarian Empire, just clashing there in the 19th century. And then even before that, we just been always exposed to a lot of historical events, and that those influences from, different places definitely came all together. So I formed this quartet to bring the Balkan music and the heritage of where I come from in sort of a purest form, but in the classical world, so that I could present it to people who come to the classical music concerts. Because we have folk bands that are a little bit different configuration. They have an accordion or an upright bass. It's something you would find here as a bluegrass band. It's pretty much the same. We just don't have the banjo. It's literally just it's accordion instead of the banjo, because it's like a harmonic instrument. So you have bass, accordion, usually a violin, and somebody singing, or they add a clarinet to it. So it's like a klezmer band. So there's a lot of different influences. But for me, it was the most accessible, because I don't have an accordion player that plays Serbian music readily available. I just could not find a guy or a gal that can do that. So I opted for what I come from at classical training, and we had a great run for 12 years, played all over the country, and we really enjoyed some recordings out there. Played in Carnegie Hall and in Kennedy Center, and all the places, and gave lectures about this music around the colleges in the Southeast particularly. So that was something. And then after some time, I felt like I have even more to give. So I decided to branch into orchestra management. As I said, this was my house, my home, and this is where I felt the most comfortable. But I felt like I can give more, and I started getting into production and management. So this is what I'm doing right now. I'm a general manager of the Philharmonic Orchestra here, and that's probably going to be my career for until I retire. I'm still trying to parallelly keep playing on a yes as much as I can. I gotta tell you, it's becoming more and more of a challenge to stay on that high level, but because you gotta keep your chops up, and I have less and less time. And that's where I'm going to be vulnerable for you today. I have not touched the violin in 3 days, and I'm going to try to play without any warming up. I have not touched it yet. So who knows what happens. I'm going to start playing, and I'm going to start feeling my hands, and who knows what happens. But I'll finish with that, and hopefully you'll have some questions. But to come back to this, I told you about a little bit of life and of my work, but I wanted to give you a perspective on this is what I see most of the time. This is when my violin is sitting on my, you see me from the outside and you see this completely different picture. But this is what I see. It's a very boring picture. But, you know, you can see that you know, there's not much to work with. I just don't have that. Whatever you think about playing violin, it's very simple. It's a very simple premise. You take the bow that is this, and it has a horse here on this side. This is the Pernambuco wood. These bows, the high quality bows, can only be made from Pernambuco. It's the tree that grows only in Brazil. It doesn't grow anywhere else, only in Brazil. So these things are super important because of this. Do you hear anything? But when you do this, so violin without the bow, even though it looks very simple, very rudimentary, you know, that's how the sound is made. This is the soul, actually. And here is where you know, you kind of produce the bulk of things, but the actual sound production and the actual magic happens when the bow touches the string. So as I said, what I'm seeing constantly is this perspective, because I'm looking at my fingers. I'm trying to figure out where my fingers go, because we don't have frets or anything. It's based on a feeling of where your fingers are and the distance you know, between the fingers. So there's no actual you know, scientific way to tell where you are. It's all based on your training of your listening skills, making sure that you're, what we say, playing in tune, because, you know, the pitch can be produced to determine, you know, the actual pitch, like letter, let's say E, right? This is E. But this E on a string instrument can be played a little bit flatter. I come back to it, could be a little sharper. And if you're not trained to hear these little like nuances of it, you probably won't do well on the violin, because this is what the essence of it is. I'm supposed to train my fingers to go exactly where they're supposed to go. So not flat, not sharp, but right on the spot. And the piano does not have that problem, because you have somebody who comes in for you and tunes the piano. So when you come into a piano and you hit the key, you're going to get that note. So in a way, it's much more approachable. This damn thing takes years to just figure out how to make a sound. And to be pleasing on top of that takes at least 3 to 4 years. To actually make somebody be moved by your own playing, and as I said to Christian, if you see a little kid, you're moved in a different way. It's just it's like a circus act. You see like a 5-year-old and they're playing the violin, and it's, oh my God, how they can do that. That's one thing. But if you take music out of the equation, but if you when you're growing and you kind of hit like 14, 15, 16 years old, you have enough technique, you have some other things that you worked on, and then you suddenly can come to the point where, oh, I can actually play, and somebody is going to have a reaction that's not a circus reaction. You know, it's an act, not an act. It's an actual art. So that somebody can listen to you and say, oh, this actually sounds pretty good. Oh, let me hear more, and then you get into it, right? But that's where the journey just begins, and then it never ends. And I know my teacher told me when he was about 60 years old, he said, I just realized how much I don't know. And it's so defeating. And I'm sure in every single field that you study your entire life, there's a moment that you come to and you realize, oh my God, one lifetime is not enough. There's so much more that I could know if I started when I was 3. It's not a lifetime. You just start a few years earlier. It might give you some head up, but not really. So in a way, it's a blessing and a curse. And I feel that for my entire life. Like I know how much I should know, but I just don't have time. And when you realize that, it's kind of, okay, maybe I should hang it up. And that's the reason probably what I got into production, so I can hear other people play and not listen to myself playing. But so that's what I just wanted to show you, because it's really something that I don't think you guys can imagine without me showing you this, because you spend hours looking at this. Like I spend hours playing something as just a scale. I know. 4 hours of this. And I'm not kidding you. These are fundamentals. If you're going to play golf good, if you're going to play tennis good, if you're going to play basketball good, but whatever you're going to do, these are the fundamentals. And every coach is going to tell you, you got to get this first before you start and go play the game. So there are all these technical things that are super boring. And that's why I did not really like to practice when I was a kid, because it's boring. But somehow you get yourself through it, and that kind of enables you to get to where you need to be technically. So I'm just giving you snippets, a little, and I'm gonna finish pretty soon. I just wanted to give you. This is the story about the classical academy that I touched, and you can actually see this probably in the video much better than you can see it here. But I had this is the high school class. I had kids from the 3rd grade through the 5th grade through the 12th grade. That were playing, and we did some very, very cool things. And this was like a full orchestra. I had a string orchestra. I had a bass and cello players and whatnot. And this is the story I want to tell you about. So I asked them from time to time to write why they are in this class. Why are they playing music? What is driving them? It's not just the grade, because they're in high school, Most of these kids would tell you, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. I never heard that from anybody in my class, literally. I have never had a kid that after a month of understanding where they are and what they're doing, I never heard, oh, I don't want to be here. If they were not in a right state of mind to perform, I would always tell them, do not even take it out. Do not take your instrument out. Just go sit and listen. Do your homework. Do whatever you want to do. I don't want to force it on you, because there's no point of me forcing it on you. And you know what happens? After 5 minutes, they actually stand up, they'll put the homework down, and they go and pick up the instrument, and they join. So I don't have to do it. I'm just going to leave it to you to make the decision what makes you feel better. You're going to go to your mat, or you're going to go and do this. And if I have to prove to somebody this is where they feel better, why don't you give them this chance? Why are you taking this away from them? Because this is their refuge. For most of the time in the school, when they spend 8 hours of learning whatever they're learning, science, numbers, it's all very kind of edgy in a way, and it's like yes or no. There's always mistake or not and whatever. And they come here and they can relax. So this girl decided to play the instrument just because she liked music. There was no, idea before that. And I'm not going to go into details, but her family situation was not really ideal. And she was also a competitive power lifter. There was a program that was attached to school, and they were taking kids to these competitions, and they were training really, hard on powerlifting and whatnot. So she started playing the bass because the bass felt like something that she can, handle easily. And you usually, have at that age, kids might have a little trouble getting around the instrument because it's just bigger and it's not easy to carry around. So she picked up the bass. Her best friend, Yanni Gonzalez, her name is Erica Goodwin, and Yanni Gonzalez was her friend who actually kind of brought her into the class. And they're still best friends. And I just saw her after 7 years at the Women Who Rule event by United Way. I was there with my wife, and she recognized me. I didn't even see her. She yelled across the hallway, "Dr. C!" And I'm like, oh my God. And then, we definitely, had a moment, because I haven't seen her in a while. I was trying to stay in touch with most of my kids, but just the situation was that she, because of this class, because I was always telling them, you can do whatever you want to do. It's just your personal decision. I'm not even going to say anything beyond that. She's the first one to graduate college in her family. She's actually working now for Step Up Savannah as a assistant. I think something in development, and she wants to go to law school. So she's still playing bass. She has a bass guitar. And her best friend Yanni, who's playing the bass, enlisted in Marines, became an avionics tech, was stationed in Japan for 4 years. They kept sort of in touch. He's now here back home in North Carolina. And she texted him right away, sent him this photo. And Yanni responded, "Oh my God." And then we kind of chatted a little bit, and he's still playing his bass, and they're still staying with this whole idea of like, yes, I can be the best I can be just because somebody at some point told them, yes, you can. And then gave him a tool. So I was, this is what makes my life sort of worth doing this. Because her younger sister on the same path. And I'm telling you, I'm not going to go into details, but their family situation, very difficult, very difficult. But she's a super nice, professional young lady that literally felt now feels there's no limit. You can be whatever you want to be, and that was achieved through this program, through this music. And I have, as I said, 55 stories. So these are all the performances I did with them. Some Philharmonic performances. This is with Andrea Bocelli, actually. The Philharmonic just played concert just a month ago, I believe. So I've been involved with a lot of cool stuff over the years, and to really say that I would achieve what I've achieved personally, not professionally. Personally, where I would be without music is not even an understatement. I can't even say this is who I am. The music has been in the center of my life for now 42 years now, and I just cannot imagine myself not having it in my everyday life. It's my profession, but I can always tell you that everyone here is touched by music on everyday basis. Even if you're not aware of it, it's somewhere in your ear, and it will make you feel a different way. Can help you find your emotions. Can help you work on some sort of inner things that you feel like need to be worked on. And I would suggest that you look for music to help you through your everyday life. So to close it, as I said, I'm going to be vulnerable for you. I'm going to give you just 2 minutes, and then we can go to Q&A. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but I just want to give you a sound or two to know why I'm doing what I'm doing, right? Okay. And this piece is called Meditation, and it's by French composer Gilles Massenet. Wrote it in probably end of 1890s or so.